Hello, slots enthusiasts. How are you? Um, uh, how are you? My name's John Friedel. Welcome to Professor Slots. I'm waiting for my other channel to come up and give me a hard time. Uh, uh, Welcome to Professor Slots, a channel devoted to mastering casino slots. My other channel to come up. I'm on. Stop. Okay. A channel devoted to mastering casino slots so you can win your way to success. Yeah, I wanted to show some examples to you later in the show, and I need my other channel. So I've got like my channel showed up on the side here. Right. Today, we're going to be diving into 11 practical slots money management tips to help you keep your winnings. It's great to see you all here again, and all the new people. We're growing every time. Oh, okay. So we have before the show, and there was quite a show. Cindy gave me a tip, a super chat, which you can too if you're here live, and on YouTube. And she gave a $5 super chat tip, and that is much appreciated. I will show that on the screen for people if I can find that option somewhere. What a lot of comments we had before the show. Thank you, Cindy. Also, just now, Chuck has given a $20 donation. It is in fact $20.12 because that is his 12th donation of $20 to me. So he's been very supportive, and it helps me. And he says greetings all on his super chat. And it's very much appreciated to have this revenue come in. It's been a crazy week. 6 months ago, in less than a week, 6 months ago will be when I got laid off. So I'm living on savings, trying to make a go of it with Professor Slots, and still have savings enough for months, but I got to turn things around soon. So thank you, Chuck. You have been very supportive, and that is much appreciated. Let me put that away. Right. Oops. It's great to see you all here again for another Professor Slots podcast episode and live stream. Yes, this is seen and listened to by far more people than the live stream, but it's great to see the live stream here. Yes, the people listening later on the podcast, I'll release this in our tomorrow. That's when they'll first get this. That's where the live streams will permanently be available. I'm making a few changes to try to improve things, including computer glasses. If you're here and if you're watching the video, and we're getting more and more people all the time since I've been trying to do more marketing in 2021 and reaching out to people who want to learn more about slots. So today we're going to be doing 11 tips. Usually I include a couple of tips every live stream for people. I think I did one live stream where I didn't have any tips, and people were like, come on, you got to put one in there. So I'm doing a little overkill to make up for those times when I haven't. And so we'll be doing 11 today, but I better get moving on this because 11 of them is a bit much. So for one show. So it's great to see you all here. If you're with us live, be sure to say hello, ask your slots related questions, hopefully something to do with bankroll money management, since that's the topic for today. And I'll get to those later in the show. Thanks to all the early arrivals. It was the biggest pre-show, and where I'm not visible. It's just that we chat, often regulars, but now we're getting a lot more people coming in. Last week was a record number of people at any one time. It was 50% more than usual, which is great, and shows the growth of my channel, which is kind of the whole point. So to help people. So I do appreciate the friendly conversation discussion in the chat. Paula will be our moderator today again. Thank you, Paula, for your help. So also thanks to the many new slots enthusiasts that are continuing to show up on my weekly live stream. You're very welcome to be here. Unfortunately, just getting into, thank you, Magpie, for your $20.01 donation. His super chat says, I'm following here. I will show you. I'm following in Chuck's footsteps. I appreciate you sharing with us. You're very welcome, Magpie. Thank you for your donation. It is impactful and helps me to be able to provide better and better content for longer. Right. So keep asking your questions, and I'll go back through and answer them when we take a break. And towards the beginning of the show, we have a lot fewer people. It's usually doubles or more by the end of the show. So I'll wait a little bit as more people come in. So unfortunately, starting our topic today, unfortunately, slot players typically spend any of their winnings before ever leaving the casino. A simple change of habit would let them instead leave as winners. I'll briefly review each of my 11 practical slots money management tips. I have some videos out, full disclosure, I have some videos out there, 6 of them, series where I talk about 1 or 2 per video. If you're a fan of my channel, you might have seen them. 2 of them came out in the last week, but I haven't mentioned any of this to my podcast listeners. And so I try to make sure that I cover topics that they listen to it. It's early in the show, so they're still listening and they haven't actually fallen asleep yet because, they like, typically people like to listen to podcasts before they go to bed, and whether or not they're actually asleep yet. So before you go to sleep, it is 11 practical slots money management tips that I'll be talking about today. So there's a lot of slots money management advice on the internet, which is great, but it is all jumbled up with myths and misunderstandings of the slot machine gaming industry. As one of the few educational slots channels, including some that are pretty inactive. I'm trying to clear some of this stuff up with my being who I am and what I'm trying to do here. So recently, in the last week, I decided to go to daily videos, and I hope to soon go to 2 videos a day. It's really the only way to grow a YouTube channel on slots. But to help you provide some clarity, I've broken up my 11 sensible slots bankroll management tips into 4 equally essential, at least I think so. You might have a different opinion. 4 equally essential areas. Preparation beforehand, what to do immediately upon arrival at a casino. Then maybe the one that's most popular, what you should do while playing slots. And then another one that's perhaps less of interest, but I still think is vital, after action debriefing once you're home. My understanding of how to present this information is to give you what you want, but then also give you what you need. So I'm going to go over these 4 different areas with 11 different tips. And the first one is a preparation tip, which is to budget your gambling bankrolls. If you've never learned personal budgeting, now is the time to learn. This is, some of you may already know how to do this, but some of you don't. And it's slots and it's gambling, so this has to be covered, right? If you've never learned personal budgeting, learn now. Determining your bankroll size for regular casino visits isn't much different from managing your household expenses. Use your existing skills to budget your casino trips. If you've never learned how to manage a budget, I recommend searching YouTube for a channel that suits your needs. There are many other fantastic budgeting channels on YouTube to choose from, and podcasts. So, for instance, in a moment, I'll reference Dave Ramsey. So most people go to a casino, play slot machines for its entertainment value. You may not, but most parking lots full of cars, trucks of people who do go for entertainment value. They take a certain amount of money to gamble with, which is known as a bankroll. How much is your bankroll? That's a question for you. For some, it's $20. For others, it's $100 or more. How much bankroll you take to a casino should be entirely based on your planned budget. If your budget can't afford a gambling bankroll, you can still experience the thrilling casino environment. For instance, casinos have great buffets. Sometimes I go to a casino due to my love of buffets. Other times it's to have a nice dinner with a friend. Even some of my professional organizations as an engineer would meet at a casino, and we'd take one of the banquet halls and have our meeting. And so, there's plenty of ways you can experience a casino. Las Vegas is a bunch of conference goers, after all, many of them. If you can afford some amount of gambling bankroll, you'll need to keep a financial record. Again, this is one of those you may not want to do it, but you need to do it. Why? Because you might win money, and gambling winnings are taxable income. Now, you might say, but I don't win money. I don't win hand pays. I don't win taxable jackpots. Well, what are you doing here, right? My job is to show you how to do that. So let's assume success. And you don't want to start your gambling records after you start winning. Sorry, don't mean to throw logic into the whole equation. So keeping a gambling record before winning at a casino is essential for getting taxes back from gambling income when filing your annual tax returns. You may not always get money back. It depends on several factors. So consult your income tax preparer for the tax rules which apply to you. One of those little issues is it federal or is it state? But can you itemize your deductions or not? That's one of the factors. But even if you don't itemize tax speak, even if you don't itemize deductions now, big enough win, and you will. So, like I said, let's assume some success here. Just don't spend it before you get it. Thanks for sharing, everybody, the amount you take to the casino. That's please do. Thank you, Amber, for asking that question. How much bankroll you take? Second tip for preparation: don't borrow money to win. How much bankroll you take doesn't matter. Being on a budget means you adjust your play to match your bankroll, not the other way around. Going to a casino is fun for many people. It shouldn't and doesn't need to be about financial risk. Never borrow money with which to gamble. It is possible to win money at a casino, yes, but there are no guarantees, even with my best strategies. Everything depends on the casino, right? You need to be good at the strategies, but you also need to find a casino where they apply. So don't assume you'll come home a winner before you've yet arrived. This advice not to borrow goes double for credit cards. The cashier's cage at a casino, I hesitate to even mention this. They'll be happy to give you a cash advance on any of your credit cards right up to the limit available. Avoid doing so. Some people are unable to budget their gambling expenses. This inability is sometimes related to gambling addiction. There are various terms used for people who spend all they own on gambling, including problem gamblers and degenerate gamblers, with some stigma attached to those terms. So I'm not an addiction counselor or medical practitioner, so there is little help that I can provide. I try to be a role model. I try to have a certain attitude, but I have collected gambling helplines and other website resources on my webpage, Responsible Gambling. And I've placed a link to those resources at the bottom of every one of my web pages at professorslots.com. So in the footer. So I think we're at one more preparation tip before leaving for the casino. Until you've gotten into the habit of doing, and this is about ATM cards and leaving them at home. Until you've gotten into the habit of doing so, it can be challenging to stick to your gambling budget. ATM cards are very convenient financial tools. However, sometimes using them is too much of a temptation. To avoid exceeding your planned budget in the heat of a casino visit, and I've heard this from many people commenting on YouTube and other emails that I get, etc. Leave your ATM debit cards at home. If you've not yet gotten into the habit of sticking to your planned bankroll, leave your ATMs cards at home alongside your debit cards at home alongside your credit cards. I would argue that leaving your debit and credit cards in your car in the parking lot is still too much of a temptation. To paraphrase Dave Ramsey, financial guru and author of The Total Money Makeover, if you already had good money management skills, you wouldn't be watching this. So, whatever the case may be, develop and maintain good financial habits. This advice includes managing your casino bankroll. You know yourself best, or your spouse does. We'll talk about teams later. So, use that self knowledge as an advantage play to keep your winnings. Okay, so there is one more preparation. This isn't quite for everyone. There's a way to use it for everyone. Is to review your state's gaming returns. So my last tip for preparing to gamble by playing slots is to choose the best casino as well as the best denomination slot machine to play. While individual preferences and planned bankrolls matter to making both of these decisions, your state's gaming commission may be of tremendous help. Perhaps you don't yet have a fundamental understanding of the usefulness of return statistics. That's common. Many people aren't aware of what the state provides. I mean, they're there to protect, they're there to protect you, residents, but they're also there to, provide the gaming regulations, even if they're tribal gaming compacts. So the state has to approve those. So does your state's gaming commission offer publicly available payout statistics, so-called one of the two ways what the two things people mean by return to player, RTP. Depending on the specific state, there are several possible answers, including none, win percentages for each casino, or possibly the casinos within a state region, or the win percentages for each slot machine denomination, or both. So I'm starting a series soon. I'm going to daily videos, in case you didn't hear me say that earlier. And I'm going to look at the return statistics state by state, and give people an idea of, well, frankly, are casinos still taking your money after the pandemic? What's going on? And return statistics are one way to see if the casinos are cheating you. So I made a request on Facebook, and I now have a long list of states and the order in which to do them. I figure I've got maybe 30 articles, 30 videos to make. And oh yeah, can you read my handwriting? So there's a certain order of doing these, and I'll get on that. So you can expect those to start coming out soon. Florida will be the first one. Financial statistics provided by casinos to the states who publish them on the performance of their slot machines can be by year, month, or even by the week, including none at all. Before you go to your chosen casino, or to perhaps pick the casino with the best returns, part of what I talk about when I talk about assessing casinos near you, learn what is available online from your state government. For links to my detailed state-by-state articles with just this sort of information and more, visit my free online resource, again, emphasis on free, at my website, professorslots.com. It's in the menu at the top of that page, or you can just go directly to professorslots.com/online-resource. And that's where you'll find summaries of each of the 50 states, one federal district, and five U.S. territories, some of which have an extraordinary gambling experience out there for you. But that's where you'll find summaries of each of my articles and links to those weekly reviews. It's this, as I've mentioned in the past, you may know this, but there's a lot of new people here. I write an article each week on alphabetically going through all the states, territories, and federal district. Right now I'm on, what is it? I just finished Georgia, Guam, Hawaii's next, right? And I have some fans from Hawaii. Sometimes they come to the live stream. And to see what the changes were in the last year. I'm on my fourth time through. I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 years, well before I started my YouTube channel. So that resource is available for you. Now let's check in with a live chat. I've seen lots of scrolling going by. So I'm going to check in with the live chat and see where things are at. Let's see, going back to about there, we had some follow-up questions from the live chat. Cindy, who is driving right now, says best wishes to the casinos, everyone. And we approve some things on the live stream. Where are you at? Okay, hide that. And let's go through some of the comments. Like I said, Cindy says best wishes. Thanks again for the donation, as well as Chuck and Magpie. And Jan says, I'm looking forward to my first hand pay of 2021. Shot my budget for January, so I'll shoot for February after my consultation with John. Yes, I offer paid consultations. You can find those at professorslots.com/consultant. And I need to emphasize those more often. Marketing. One of my, I guess you might call it, New Year's resolution is to actually tell you what I have, because some of these things you would like, but definitely find useful. And I offer paid consultations. Have I ever played at Harris Cherokee Casino? You're asking about North Carolina. I haven't been down there. I've got a couple of fans there who are telling me a lot about what's going on. Anthony, where are you at? There you are. Anthony91 has given a $24.99 donation. Thank you so much. He says it's a super chat. He says, you're a stand-up guy, Professor. I should read it before I speak it, but I'll just say it. You're a stand-up guy, Professor. Refer to you as Father John in this household. Thank you for the useful knowledge. Awesome. Thank you. That's pretty special. Yeah, it's amazing. I have fans. I never thought I'd have fans. Right. So, getting back to where I was. Right. No, I haven't played at Harris Cherokee in North Carolina. It would be wonderful to run on down there. I do have several people there. I don't know if he's here today. Steve DeStefano, if I pronounced that correctly, and also Wise Virgin. I don't know if he's here today. Is a regular, and Richard. And both of them have a lot to say and send me messages and etc. all the time. Let's see. Brandon says, love your content. Thanks. Let's see here. Robert Parker, good morning. Yes, good Saturday to you too as well. And Steve is here from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Says hello to everybody. Let's see. Philip says he's got to go soon. So looking forward to some early tips. Lost a lot last 2 months. Sorry to hear that, Philip, if you're still here. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the replay. We'll get to the tips. Make sure I get through all 11 of them. Jan says, notice John's book propped up to be seen. I will also point to it right now, but more importantly, perhaps, I will point to the other side. Where's this? This is Rudy. He's the old man in the house. No, actually, that's probably me. He's the older of my 3 cats, and he's taking a nap. Earlier, he was doing something that might have been slightly offensive, but now he's sleeping, and he's always cute when he's sleeping. So that's Rudy. I love how these live streams are getting more and more lively. Is that the right word? So Amber asked, how much bankroll do you all bring? And that's great that she would ask that. And Brandon says usually $200 for me and $200 for the wife. Cindy says she's about to leave. I know you're driving. She says she created a debit card account to keep as part of her bankroll, just as a fallback. It's a separate account. One of the more advanced topics would be to start a separate bank account where you put your winnings, and then that's what you draw from. And then maybe every couple times a year, you might put something in it to work with. If you're steadily losing, that's something of an advanced topic. So Chopa Tad says $500 a trip is good. Right. So again, nobody's winning here. Jan says $400 to $500. Whatever your budget is. Let's not make it a competition. Oh, Jason. Let me make sure I get back to this. Thank you, Jason. Jason says, Happy New Year, John and Rudy. We also have Curie and Emmett, Doc Brown, although he's a black and white, around. But Rudy's hogging the scene, hogging the couch or love seat. Right. Where were we? Yeah, if you go to the Trexler Tracy, if you go to Harris Cherokee, you will definitely need more than a few hundred. So let me tidy up things here. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Lots of things going on. CJ says, depends on your casino goals. My wife is more daring than him and usually has, than me, CJ, and usually has better interim results. So the Jan says, I hit the ATM the last time I went gambling and lost it all. I'm so mad at myself, but learned a lesson. I hope so. Those lessons sometimes are valuable enough to actually pay for that mistake. Sometimes you save more money later when you do that sort of thing. I know I did that when I went the first time I had my free trip to free 4-day 3-night trip to the Las Vegas Strip. Turns out not the Strip, or at least not the casinos I went to on the Strip. But let's see. All right, and trying to put everything together here. Joyce says I did the same. Lesson learned to stick to my budget. And let's see, the bankroll depends on where you go and how far you have to travel to get there to play. That's all throughout this. There's going to be times when everything depends on your personal, goals, your bankroll amount, and what casinos you go to, and by extension, what state you're in. Your state might not have return statistics, so you have to sort of adjust to that. It's state by state. That's why my channel is going to work, because there's so many questions about so many different things that are going on in different states, and that's why I built this online resource and why there's questions. And that's a good thing. We've got things to do. I love Washington slots. I love the way that it's fair in ways no other state is. Yet there's ways to use the system to have a winning advantage. But then you have someplace like the state of New York, which is just amazingly, I want to say, complicated. You got cruise ships out of the New York, Manhattan cruise terminal. Canada's right there with Canadian casinos on the other side of the border from Buffalo, and then you've got Montreal, which is across the border from upstate New York. Then you've got two kinds of tribal casinos: those with a compact, which can have Class 3 games, Las Vegas slot machines, and then others that can have Class 2 competition, usually bingo style games. And it seems like there's more than that. Some of these are controlled by the state lottery, some are controlled by, aren't controlled. And it's just, amazing. And so lots of things going on in different states. And that's why we get so many questions. CJ, RTP by machine, $1 and $5 have the best. Is a penny machine on a higher credit bet still considered a penny? Right. You're completely wrong about this. $1 and $5 have the best return to player. That's a myth. Busted that myth all over the place. Just look at any state's gaming statistics. Half of the 6 states that have, I wrote an article on this. Half of I've been checking it occasionally to see what the last months were, and it still holds true. Half of the 6 states that have return statistics by slot machine denomination, so you can see what the state report is for each denomination, shows half the time one of the denominations which we would consider high limit would have the highest return. Not all of them, one of them. Either the $100 machine, the $20 machine, the $10 machine, the $5 machine, maybe even the $1 machine or $2 machine. One of those will be highest in half the places that record this stuff. Half the time, it's one of the lower denomination, $1, less than $1 denominations. So there's a big myth out there that high limits have no. It's not true. It's data doesn't hold up consistently. Not to spend too much time on that. Jan says Louisiana says stats say 5-cent slots pay the highest, so I try to pay that denomination. Yeah, check the last month in some of these places. If you ever go to the Deadwood out west, that's a state that has, at least for that town, has posts what the return was for slot machine denominations, and they also say how many slot machines they have of that type. So it's just for the whole city and doesn't say which casino. But if it says 5, it has 5 or 25 slot machines that have a $2 denomination and it's the highest return. Go out there and find them, in 20 different casinos. There's only a few of them. That's what you play. It may take a little bit of walking, but you got something better to do. William, hello to you as well. Hello, sir. CJ, I suppose to vary by state. Always heard that. Yep. CJ confirmed that he always heard that $1 and $5 denomination were the best return to player. Yeah, that's a rumor. Yeah, there is a definite need for an educational slots channel. I'll point you to the data and you can look for yourself. In my article on my website someday. That's why I'm started, less than a week ago, I decided to start these state-by-state articles talking about the return statistics since the pandemic, or from before, month by month, to show people, what's going on. And let's see here. We've got... Jen's had a consultation, so we talked about a lot of this, and she makes strong use of it. Cindy, leaving cards at home doesn't work if you're visiting local or doing errands. That is true, but only a trip to casino when it depends on, if you're planning a trip or if you just, sometimes they're just so convenient. I ask everybody who joins my Facebook groups. I have Facebook groups, professorslots.com/FB for every state. And you can, I ask the question, what's your favorite casino? And people say, well, the closest one. So it can be very convenient to just swing by, and maybe you don't prepare as much. And I worry about that for people. Let's see. Good point, Cindy. Appreciate that. Joyce says usually $200. So keep cards at home. Took my cards last visit. I'll post this so people can see it. And really exceeded my budget. I grounded myself till Valentine's Day. And Linda says, when playing a game with 4 choices and when one pays off, does that change the winning odds of the others? When playing a game with 4 choices, when you say 4 choices, do you mean 4 credits? We're talking about a penny slot machine, which has 4 different bonus games that you might win depending on how much you bet. Every slot machine, class 3 slot machine, and class 2, but definitely class 3 slot machine has to go through rigorous laboratory testing. I don't mean the game theme. I mean the physical machine before being installed in that casino has to go through rigorous laboratory testing. And one of the things they test for is that it doesn't matter how you bet, but that every way that you bet has the same odds. Now, they can change the odds. The casino can change the odds of winning on a slot machine. I'll have another video on that. There's so many videos to do, but not for just say one credit on a 3-credit machine. Whatever credits you bet, it has the same odds of winning across the board. Any selections on these penny slots, and I really do hate how they doing this, but it is the future of just how many selections you have. It makes it more confusing on what's going on, but basically how slot machine operates is every bet that you make, any bet that you make, has the same odds as all the others, and that is how those work. Yeah, 5 minutes later, they might all be something else. But, well, there are more videos on this. We're getting a little bit away from slots money management tips, which I'll need to get back to shortly. But, questions are questions. 235 says, only carry Google Pay or Apple Pay options on my phone, no plastic. That's why I only do is all you got. Okay, so I think you might be talking about you might be international, and you might be using slot machines that allow you to pay electronically as you go, but you might also be talking about online. But yeah, if you, and this is similar to having a separate account that you use for gambling, whether it be a debit card or checking account or a line of credit. A lot of people, particularly table games, will do lines of credit instead of traveling to Las Vegas with money. They have a line of credit set up, and not that I'm making these suggestions, and for people. Well, you may not realize 235 that there are some options that are becoming available along those ways, but not generally used that way. But your thought about online casino payment has inspired me to point out some of the things that are currently used, such as lines of credit and other ways to go directly, bank transfers and other things that are available for those. But that's more of a there's fees involved, and that's more of a high limit thing in order to sort of make the fees smaller. It has to be larger amounts. Don't tend to do that for like $500, which is, the usual amount for many, many people. Okay. Thanks for all the comments, everybody. This is amazing. And I'm going to quickly check the viewer activity. Look at all those donations. Thank you. And wait, did I miss something? I think I missed something. Yeah. CJ. Thank you. He gave me $10.02 for my Mythbuster tip. Thank you, and I love seeing that. I don't want to miss anybody. You need to get your little bit of music. We're halfway to the chat revenue is halfway to our maximum. I know that the last time we got over 100, I turned all red in the face, and people thought that was great and started donating, giving donations. Just to see me blush or something. And so we ended up being twice. We're at $100.35. And I think we went to 204 was the highest I've ever gotten on a live stream, which shocked me and shocked other, in the chat. There are usually some people who have their own slots channel, and they were shocked. I was shocked. We were all kind of shocked. And CJ also says thanks to Texas Tootsie. That's Jan too. Right. I think I'm kind of got caught up here, and so if I've already helped you to make money at slots, give me a tip using the $ icon at the bottom of the chat window, and you can see that if I share that screen. Let me hide this. So this is me talking. It's 20 seconds behind. So if I turn my head on the little screen and I don't turn my head on the big screen, then you know why that's happening. And if you go over to the little dollar sign, the mouse will show up soon. And go over to the little dollar sign, and you click that. There's a particular succinct way I want to say that. There's a dollar sign icon at the bottom of the live chat window. Here's how it works. Simply click on the dollar sign icon and select the super chat, and I'll do that live option. And you'll see a sliding scale right here at the bottom, little blue line. And 500 only goes up to $500, but it starts at $5, and you can either you can type in an amount here. You can type in an amount here, and the color will change, and you can type in a message here, and here we have a super sticker from Jill, and it's a little pear, I guess, and it's kind of doing a little moving around, jumping around, and then once you have selected the amount and typed in something into the super chat, you can say buy and send, which will take you to a payment window. If you already have something set up with YouTube, then it will show that for you, last 4 digits. I won't show you the last 4 digits of my credit card number. If not, there's a little down arrow and you can select another payment, different credit card, a debit card, or whatever. I don't think there's a PayPal option, unfortunately. And that is, and then it'll show up in the screen, and I'll play you a little bit of music, and we will. I'll thank you. So and that's how it works. Thank you so much for your support. Let's see. CJ asks a off-topic question. He says, if you're on a hot streak or changing the credit bet or increase the denomination, will the hot streak continue? That is remotely possible as a winning strategy that I'm currently looking into. I don't think so. It shouldn't be, but I've had some people come to me and say, it seems to be working for me. So it's one of those that's kind of under investigation. I've always said, no, that wouldn't matter. But there's seems to be maybe something at some casinos that try it, see if it works. That's always been my philosophy. But if it doesn't work consistently, it doesn't work at your casino, it might work someplace else. Right. So thanks again for everybody for your support. Let's pick back up with Slots Money Management tips so we can get through the remainder in the next 5 minutes or 15 minutes. So upon arrival, the first thing you want to do is go to the Players Club card desk. Maybe it's a promotion counter, maybe it's a kiosk. Several reasons to doing so. You want to collect any available free play. You want to register for any available promotions, including point multipliers. You want to receive any available discount coupons, maybe dinner, something like that. And sometimes, there's plenty of things that can happen. They sometimes will have a free game that you can play on the interface and maybe right there at the kiosk where you might win something. And so first thing you do, stop at the kiosk. Joyce. Thank you, Joyce, for your $10 donation. She says, need all the help she can get. Thank you so much. Right. So first stop is the kiosk. I also mentioned later, I want to mention now so I don't forget, last stop before leaving the casino is to go back to the kiosk to see if you won anything during your casino visit. So this is a two-part tip. when you first arrive, and also just before you leave. Call it a bonus tip, number 12, and stop by again after you play, because sometimes things open up for you. Um, and that's that tip. Tip number 6, upon arrival, another one for upon arrival. I agree with you, Wayne, but we're going to stick with the topic for now. Wow, incredible number of chats today. So when I've taught university courses, so we want to pick a money management strategy, and this is where it gets a little more into things here. I'm talking a little more advanced. So I've taught university courses. Eventually, my students will have questions about having a career after college. They are trying to come up with a plan. It may seem a bit harsh, but I tell them this: I don't care what your plan is. I care that you have a plan. So when you arrive at a casino, decide upon a money management plan which you can implement. What is your strategy? What are your goals? If you search for money management strategies online, you'll find many suggestions. Pick one, and I'll have videos in the future on some of these, the good ones. But pick one of them, search and pick one of them and stick with it for the length of your casino visit. One of the things that can happen that kind of ruins everything is to suddenly win something and everything goes out the window and you're just freewheeling it. So pick one, stick with it. But unfortunately, when you search for these, some of them aren't even money management strategies. They say they are, but they're not. So instead, I'm just letting you know, instead, they are often about avoiding something with a known low return. For example, here's one which I agree absolutely. Avoid playing wide area progressive slot machines unless that's your focus. And you, again, have a plan of attack. I've written I've written a slots money management article and made these videos. How should I put it? To teach you to fish instead of forever catching fish for you. So, you're a smart person. You probably already avoid wide area progressives like the plague. Sorry. If you gamble in Nevada. Why? Because you've read, thought about, implemented tip number 4 above. With this, these approaches, these tips, I assume you want a systematic approach to slots money management. I've assumed you want a high level perspective of everything needed to manage your bankroll. And I've further assumed that you've, like some of the links I put making available with this video article and everything I have here for you. So when you look at slots money management strategies, I will give you some keywords. Google on YouTube, Google slot machine money management, or slots money management, or slot machine bankroll management, or slots bankroll management, winners bank wallet, loss limits, the piles method, bankroll winnings in a sock, the play through once method. And we'll talk about, I think we'll talk about that one in a moment. So in my videos that I've already made, I've already talked about loss limits, and I've talked about some of these other topics. So let's talk about loss limits a little bit. I don't want to go through this long explanation with only 12 minutes left, but it's in the video, and this is one video I have made about loss limits. So you'll find that online. Whatever, it's part of the series that when this video is over, for those of you watching on the video, either now or the record version, the last thing you'll see is I'll put up a playlist of these 6 videos which go through these tips one by one in detail, and that's where the link will be. So hang on for that in another 12 minutes. This loss limit explanation you'll find in that video. It would take me 10 minutes to work through it here and then answer questions. So loss limit is when you put a certain amount of money in the machine, or you decide on how much of your bankroll you're going to spend on one machine, and if you lose it, you're done in that machine. Like if you have a $100 bankroll and you use $20, once it's gone, it's gone. But then what happens if you win? What happens if you win $20? What happens if you win $100? What happens if you win half, $10? What's your decision-making process? So I go through, decisions that you would want to make. If you put in 20 bucks and you win $1,000, my tip is, well, there's two possibilities. One, put it in your pocket. We'll talk about that. And don't use it, or just go home. And because, job is done. The hard part about that is sometimes it's like a 3-hour drive and you're there for 5 minutes and you're like, but I have to go home. I was going to get something to eat. Oh, but that's the rule. You have to have a plan and then you have to stick with it. So there, along with loss limits, is something very closely related to that. It's called preserving gains. Let's say you did win. Loss limits is about not spending too much. But let's say you did win and you want to keep some of that and get it home. And that's similar, but more like if you win something. So to take money home, you must make sure you don't spend all your winnings. If you spend all your bankroll, then you don't have any profit. So this is, if you go to an amusement park and you pay for your entertainment for you and your family, then you have expenses. And maybe you got paid in entertainment, but you didn't get paid in dollars. But slot play is gambling, and that means you can make more than you spend. It is possible. It happens occasionally, and you can be systematic about it, which is what I approach. So preserving gains means leaving a slot machine with a profit. Whether you take it home or use it to fund more gambling entertainment is entirely up to you. So there's several ways to do this. One is make a decision about what you'll do if you win. If you win double or more of your original bankroll, go home. That's you'll get the money home. You'll preserve your gains. There are possibilities you might win more if you continue to play, but that's a risk. So what I will say, if you consider that, is put that away. Like let's say you win equal to your original bankroll, put that away and continue to play with your original bankroll, what's left. And use that to see if maybe you might win more. But you want to, if you're focusing on taking home what you won is put away. And this gets to be a little bit impractical. And I'm trying to give you practical solutions, because one of the issues can be you hit the cash out button and all your money comes out and that was all your money. So you can't tear the voucher in half and put half in. You got to go cash it out and whatever, and that could mess things up. So one of the tips that you can do is not use the loss limit approach and put some money in, and then if you win a bunch that's not a hand pay, then you tap it out, you put the voucher in your pocket, and then you put another 20 bucks in or another 100 bucks in from your original bankroll, and you keep going there. So you can't eject part of your what's in the machine. And here I talk about the Winners Bank 200 and the Gamble Graham box. I have a couple of them over there, and that's if you search for those two things, you'll learn more about them. Tip number 9. When playing, there's pros and cons of emotional control. I've read a lot of opinions about emotional control while gambling. Most writers advise slots players to tightly control their emotions when playing. I take the opposite approach, but in moderation. For nearly a year, I was coldly analytical when playing slot machines, but it wasn't until I decided to get passionate, started to care, that I started to win. So maybe loosening my emotions made me try harder to win, or maybe it just helped me listen more closely to my instincts, and watching for patterns. Whatever the reason, the results were what mattered. Allowing myself to be passionate, but not out of control emotionally, helped me win a lot more at slots. So whether you feel that you need to control your emotions or not, I suggest being yourself, because I want you to enjoy yourself when playing slots, even if you enjoy yourself the most when you're winning cold hard cash. Just don't break the slot machine in your excitement. Okay, I want to play it afterwards, especially if you're winning. So now we've moved out of the casino. Remember, before you leave the casino, to check the kiosk again for your player's card to see if you won anything worthwhile due to your play. And so now you've left. And to get good at slots money management, you need a team to hold you accountable. And maybe at the same time, you'll keep them accountable. So when asking how well their slots play is going, too many people respond, I'm breaking even. That's code for I have no idea what I'm doing. Silence in response to that question means they know precisely how they're doing, but they're just not going to tell you. And that was when I was surveying people, when I was questioning people at the casino, it was very obvious. So your team can easily be yourself and one other person. They don't even have to go with you to the casino, although that's a great safety thing to do as well, to have somebody with you. And also maybe enjoyable. So, frankly, you can get better at developing your slots money management skills if you are open and honest with something, or actually something about your gaming performance. It's not particularly easy, however, if you're not used to doing it. But if you want to get good at money management or even great at it, having a team is the easiest way to get there. Your team needs to be someone with whom you feel comfortable sharing the results of your gambling. Perhaps it's a spouse or a significant other. If nothing else, it could just be you logging your trip into detailed gambling records. All right. Tell the truth in your reporting out, and you'll have the ability to analyze that later. Because gambling records might IRS says date, casino, how much you went in with, how much you left with. It's all there in IRS.gov. If you look under gambling records, and if you do that, you can do more. You can make comments about which machine, you could write down time of day, you can do more than what the IRS requires, and that's kind of like you giving a casino trip report to yourself. And after a month of 5 trips or 6 trips, you could look at that and go, why didn't I ever go back to that slot machine, the one I was winning at? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? So records can be more than just for tax preparation purposes. So let's do number 11. We're getting tight in time. There's no such thing as a free lunch. All right. Practice improves. Tip number 11, it's after you leave the casino, practice improves discipline. There's no such thing as a free lunch. This is basically debriefing. No such thing as a free lunch, but you know what I mean by that. It's kind of funny for slots to be able to say that, but whatever. Much of this work is entirely about discipline. How can winning money at slots be anything other than work? But it's entirely about discipline. Building good habits of slots money management takes control, which itself takes practice. I encourage you to practice developing your slots money management skills. Why? Because this is indeed a skill which you can get better at if you're diligent. You can't get better at being taller. It's not a skill. It's a physical quantity. Lastly, I encourage yourself, only stop getting better if you don't stop trying to get better. Lastly, I encourage you to forgive yourself if, or rather when, you make a mistake. So people have talked about that in the chat today. Remember that nobody's perfect. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep learning. As Dave Ramsey has said, nobody is born knowing how to manage money for as long as you want to gamble. So let me check we have 2 minutes. John says, have I been to Hard Rock Tampa? No, I've been to the Seminole casinos. My father's favorite is South Orlando, Seminole. What is it? Seminole, Brighton. Why am I missing something? Something Brighton. Oh, yeah. So that's family took precedence. We did that. Wayne has some questions, more questions. Wayne, you've been asking like 3 a day for like a week, which is great. But I did warn you about how it's going to be in the middle of hundreds of comments soon as my channel grows. Looking at some of the channels that have as much traffic as I hope to have in the next month or so, and they release a video and they get 600 comments, in 4 hours. Yeesh. Wide area progressives are, Joyce, are slot machines that are connected to other progressive slot machines in other casinos. Also, other states that have similar gaming laws, like megabucks and casino, and that's how the bigger the area that they're all networked connected in, the bigger the jackpot, the top progressive jackpot can be, and those can be 34 million. And so that's like playing the lottery. Don't waste your time unless you have a plan and you've read my article or watched my video on progressive slot machines and gotten a team together and do everything that's necessary, but just don't. It's like me giving up on putting $100 bill into a $100 slot machine just as the last thing I do before leaving a casino. Just count how many times I went to a casino and multiply by $100, and that's how much money I lost doing that. So eventually I stopped. Thanks, Wayne. Hey, Jesse's here. Welcome. Came in at the tail end, I see. We're almost done. I'm kind of checking things, and I'm over. Yes, exactly. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for a great show. If you're watching this video later, you'll see a playlist right here. I think so. One side or the other, which will be the videos that I created on my 11 practical slots money management tips. If you're listening on the podcast, stick around and we'll be moving into next segments of the show. And as always, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Thanks, everybody. CJ, thanks for the $2 donation. I appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.